So what happens if both demand and supply decrease in same proportion? So let's say the original quantity demanded was 10, the supplied one was also 10. 10 buyers, 10 sellers, right? Then the demand becomes 8 unit and the supply also becomes 8 unit. Since there are enough buyers for whatever is produced, as was the case originally, the price, the equilibrium price will remain the same, right? Since we are saying that the supply has decreased, the companies will start producing less and therefore the equilibrium output will decrease. In this case, the original demand curve is D, S is the original supply curve. They intersect to form equilibrium price at E, where the price is P, the quantity supplied is Q. There's a decrease in supply whereby a new supply curve S1 is formed, a corresponding proportionate decrease in demand such that the demand curve moves left and the new demand curve is D1. The new equilibrium price that is arrived at by intersection of this demand curve and this supply curve is point E1, at which the price remains the same, right? The new quantity is Q1, which is less than the original quantity Q. So the output has decreased. The next one is that the decrease in demand is more than the decrease in supply. Again, let's say there are 10 buyers for 10 units of commodity and sellers also are producing only 10 units. Suddenly the demand falls from 10 to 5, right? There's a decrease in the supply, but from 10 it decreases to 7. So since the supply is decreasing, the output or the quantity supplied will also decrease. Since the demand is going down more than the supply, if the excess amount is available for the supplier, which is 7, when the buyer are only 5, the price will going to be falling. In this case, if you see the equilibrium point, which was originally E, right, at which the price was, let's say in this particular case, is P1, right, has shifted from E to E1, resulting in a new price which is P, okay? The quantity decreased happens from Q to Q1. In some cases you have to be careful, and we have deliberately tried and created this complication. Do not try to learn or mug up where P and P1 is. In some cases we've taken the new price as P1, in some cases we've taken the price as P as well. Conceptually just clarify it for yourself as to what is happening. If you understand this graph on the right side, preparing this is pretty easy, right? Let's move on to the next one. Decrease in supply is equal to an increase in demand. Now this is a little changed one. So originally if there were 10 buyers, I'm putting this as demand and this is supply, right? What is happening is the demand is increasing from 10 to 15, but the supply is going down from 10 to 5, right? So increase between demand and supply, the increase of demand and the decrease of supply are equal. What is going to happen? Think it for yourself. It's very easy. Obviously, if the demand is going up, the price will increase. But the thing is that even as demand is going up, the supply is coming down, which means that the price is going to increase very, very sharply. In this case, through the interaction of the original demand and supply curve, the equilibrium price was arrived at E, which is represented at P over here, right? But what has happened is, because of the fact that the demand has increased, the supply has decreased, the new equilibrium price is going to be E1, which is higher compared to the original price. Moving on to the next one. In this case, there is an increase in supply, there is a decrease in demand, but both of them are equal. So if your demand was 10, your supply was 10, right? The demand has gone down from 10 to 5, the supply has increased from 10 to 15, right? So what is going to happen? If the demand goes down, supply increases, the price will fall sharply. Why? All these sellers would want to sell this to these 5 buyers. And since the buyer has reduced, they will try to sell it at whatever price to return or to get what they have already invested in producing these commodities. So by interaction of the original demand and supply curve, if the equilibrium price was E, when there is a decrease in demand and there is an increase in supply, the new equilibrium point will be E1, which is lower than the original one E. So the new price P1 will be lower than the price P.